Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Lauren Schnipper.
And I'm Josh Cohen. Lauren, out in the wild.
You were out in the wild. Where are you? You're not in, I'm not sure if it's a fake sky behind you because it's like very
It does
perfect.
look like totally a fake sky.
Where are you?
I'm on the 37th floor of One Penn Plaza, which beautiful, gorgeous views.
In New York City,
I
go
can see
on.
the way to Connecticut and New Jersey from here. And I am at the offices of McKinney, which is an independent advertising agency, which is bumping right now. It was hard to get a space in here. It feels like it's 2021.
Great.
Sorry, 2019 in the building
so.
right now, pre-pandemic.
Maybe like
Pre-pandemic.
18 even. Go on.
And I'm here because Little Dot Studios, which is this digital video production, distribution, and monetization company that has over 800 YouTube channels, they put together this white paper called Understanding the New Era of YouTube Viewing in 2026 with some fascinating findings, by the way. But they had a little breakfast for, VIPs. And some of the findings real quick, Lauren, I just want to touch on this for a second. They found that a 120-minute video on average in Little Dot's data set earned 100 times more revenue than a 20-minute video.
120, like a movie? Like a
a 120-minute long video compilation of
compilation. Are we talking about like a fire, like the fire, like the fire, like your fire in your house?
Yule log? You talking about Yule logs?
Yule logs. The fire. Yule log. Was that what they were talking about?
Perhaps that, but also video compilations, also like best of clips. I mean, they have a lot of footage across these 800 channels, and they put together some big things. Very long podcasts.
What the data tells us, kids. What the data tells us.
It's wild, right?
Fascinating.
And you can go check it out at Little Dot. And also we wrote about it on TubeFilter. Lots of other interesting findings here, including what happens when the YouTube algorithm shifts, what type of format's best for you right now. In any case, that's why I'm out and about in New York City.
Okay, I want to jump right into things because we have a really awesome interview today with Rachel Stockman, who is the president of Law & Crime. And Law & Crime, Joshua, just acquired Court TV. And it seems like, oh yeah, okay, sure, not a big deal. It's a big deal. Ask me why, Josh. Josh, the reason why is Law & Crime is a digital first entity, and Court TV is by all arguments is a broadcast TV channel. Yes, they have somewhat of a YouTube presence, but certainly much more on TV. So like digital is now acquiring television. What is this world we're living in? You know what? We're going to get into it with Rachel Stockman now. Welcome, Rachel Stockman, president of Law & Crime, to Creator Upload.
Hello, Lauren. Excited to be here. As I said, one of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah, as everybody knows, we only have fans on. And I should say welcome back. This is not your first time. Very excited. But we're having you on for a very specific reason. Yesterday, it was announced that Law & Crime bought Court TV, which is a broadcast channel from EW Scripps. This is like so hugely big in the industry in general. And so I want to get right into this and understand kind of the context of it all. Like this might be, dare I say, one of the first instances that a digital first company is acquiring a legacy sort of broadcast network. Can you kind of give us your overall thought on that in general and how this marriage kind of came to be?
Yeah, that's kind of the crazy part about this. 20 years ago, we were talking about legacy media acquiring these digital companies. And here we are, YouTube first company now acquiring a legacy media brand. We really looked at Court TV. First of all, they've been our competition for many years, and they do a great job, and they've built a great brand. So not only do they have that historic brand that has so much brand recognition, for us, it was also the incredible intellectual property they have. I was just looking through some of the trial lists that go back decades. We're talking about 3,000 different trials, the most significant cases from around the country. They have in their archives. Now we have as part of our archives. So we saw this not only as a great acquisition for us in terms of synergies between the two companies. We're the biggest true crime digital brand. They're this iconic legacy brand that has so much recognition, especially in the court and legal space. So we saw it as a great synergy and a way to really help continue to build out the law and crime business. And I do want to add, we are going to continue to maintain them as two separate brands. We're going to continue to operate Court TV and Law & Crime as separate brands. Court TV will be focused on the high-profile trials, court content, hearings, and on Law & Crime, we'll continue to lean in on all those big true crime cases going on around the country, as well as the law enforcement programming that we do and other long-form documentary storytelling that we do as well.
Okay, this is so, yeah. So, I mean, it seems like a very kind of perfect marriage, right? You mentioned, so Court TV, while it's definitely primarily, obviously, a broadcast kind of, entity, they do have 2 million-ish, YouTube subscribers. Obviously, you guys have upwards of 7 million. And so, obviously, I want you to get a little bit more into that synergy, right? Because I think in the best M&A deals, you and I both know, everybody's getting something they don't have, right? So what do you feel like? I know you guys have also done sort of television projects as well, but can you talk about that like synergy specifically and what each of you is bringing to the table?
And I think that's exactly one of the really kind of important things that we saw. We saw there was so much potential, especially on the social media side, to really take the great things that they've been doing on their YouTube. They have, a great following, 2 million followers, and continue to expand this. And a lot of how social media is approached by kind of more legacy media brands is, okay, let's do what we're doing on our channel, and then we'll clip it up and we'll put it on our YouTube channel, or this is
Right,
marketing for us. And so
right.
when we were meeting with the team, we were really telling them, okay, we kind of need to start thinking about, we were trying to get them to start thinking about it differently. It's, what are we doing on YouTube first? And then how can we use what we're doing on our channel, on our traditional broadcast channel, on Fast, on wherever else that we're distributing the Court TV brand. And so that's really what we're going to be doing. And I have to say, we're really excited about it. I think the team's excited about it. You're launching a new show with Vinnie Politan, who is kind of one of the biggest talents in the trial and true crime world. So he's super pumped to start a YouTube first show of his own. So, we're excited about really taking what they're doing so well, but applying this digital first strategy to it.
Much like every rom-com, there's some bumpy parts, right? So in 2021, I'd be remiss not to mention that, you guys sued Court TV because I believe they said something to the effect of they were the only, live court, sort of TV kind of entity out there. And you were like, yo, not so much. And they did sort of retract and the lawsuit went away. But that's a long way from like that moment in 2021 to acquiring in 2026. So I think given that backdrop, I think from just an M&A, you don't have to get into super specifics, you're welcome to. But like, how do you go from that kind of relationship to kind of having these more advanced conversations that lead to sort of an acquisition? Like, who broaches that? How does that even evolve?
You're definitely accurate. Law & Crime and Court TV were probably the biggest rivals. So there was a lot of, friendly competition between the two brands. But I think on the Scripps side, who is their parent company that owns Court TV, they saw this really as a strategic decision on their side in terms of meeting the needs they needed for their shareholders and whatnot.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think they still have a 3-year deal with Scripps with regard to their broadcast deal. It's like, do you imagine, you mentioned that you're going to keep them as separate entities. You imagine, if not continuing that, you're definitely going to, continue having a beefy, healthy TV presence for Court TV.
Absolutely. We're going to continue. They're distributed all over the country on broadcast and cable. We have no plans to stop that. We're going to continue with the live trial programming, but then also working with the team on all the other different ways we can continue to expand the brand. What I explained to the team is, you guys have such a great brand. Now we're going to go where the viewers are. Instead of trying to get the viewers to go to the channel, we're going to go where the viewers are. And of course, there is a big viewership that continues to watch the channel and that are very dedicated, and we're going to continue to serve them. But also kind of bring in some of the younger viewers that maybe only watch on YouTube or maybe only watch on streaming as well.
And, obviously, full disclosure, I worked at Jelly Smack for a long time, who is the parent company of Law & Crime, and now I guess is Court TV. And so I was there when we acquired Law & Crime. So if there's one thing I know is that, asking you what the purchase price is probably not going to get an answer. That's just the culture of what is Jelly Smack. But can you talk a little bit about maybe the structure of the agreement or how you thought about it?
Yes. So as part, we really wanted this to be a synergistic partnership with Scripps. So we acquired it from Scripps. We've been working and we'll continue to work with them for the next couple of months in the transition. And as you mentioned, We do have a multi-year deal with all of their Scripps owned and operated stations, well, most of them, to continue to distribute the channel as a multicast channel. So it will be a long partnership with the Scripps team.
One last question. You mentioned some of this old legacy kind of content, that they have the rights to. Should we expect to see some fun things? OJ is what comes to mind, but there's a lot more. There's many trials that have been sort of very monumental in the history of this country. So should we be expecting to see some of that content soon?
Yes, we are. Our team is, kind of chomping at the bit to get their hands on some of that material. So whether that's long form documentaries that we produce for YouTube or elsewhere, you'll definitely continue to see some of that archive. And I think there's such an interest right now on these court cases. And there's quite a few, by the way, big court cases that are coming up too that we'll be covering on both Law and Crime and Court TV.
Oh, well, I can't wait. Rachel Stockman, thank you for joining, and everybody go watch Law and Crime and Court TV. Am I right?
Thank you, Lauren. Love seeing you.
Fun fact, thank you so much, Rachel. Fun fact, my brother is an attorney, and he is an often commentator on Court TV. And so the worlds are colliding because I worked at Jelly Smack, which acquired Law and Crime, and now Law and Crime acquired Court TV, and my brother's on Court TV. So, just put that all in your blender.
It's just a lot of schnipper going on.
It's like a lot. Never enough, but, there's a lot. Next big story is there's a really, really big deal trial going on right now in California, which basically there's a ton of lawsuits that are kind of suing social media platforms, effectively saying that they're harmful for, teens. And the first one of those cases is now in court right now happening in California. Should it be, go in favor of the plaintiff, it could effectively just have this waterfall effect on all of these other cases that are kind of waiting in the wings, essentially saying that this specific lawsuit says it's filed by somebody with the initials KGM, filed a lawsuit in 2023 claiming that she became addicted to the social media sites as a child and experienced anxiety, depression, and body images as a result. So the New York Times says the case has posed one of the most significant legal threats to Meta, Snap, TikTok, and YouTube, potentially opening them up to new legal liabilities for users' well-being, drawing inspiration from a legal playbook used against big tobacco last century. Lawyers plan to use the argument that the companies created addictive products. So this week in the case, Adam Mosseri testified. He's, of course, the head of Instagram, and he said in his testifying that he does not believe that social media is clinically addictive. He, disputing the claims of this lawsuit, he said that instead that it's more like you say you're addicted to a TV show. He said that people could be addicted to social media in the same way that they could be addicted to a good television show, but it did not mean that they were quote unquote clinically addicted. Which is more serious. There's always a trade-off between safety and speech, Mr. Mosseri said. We're trying to be as safe as possible and censor as little as possible. Beyond the fact that there's like vast amounts of research that hard sort of like dispute that, I think that that argument, while it sounds really good and seems so well crafted by a good defense attorney, it's such a ridiculous comparison, primarily because the nature of television is it's a one-way conversation, and the nature of social media is it's two ways, and we're waiting for things, and we're posting ourselves, and we're looking for other people that are like us, and you can choose. I feel like love it on paper. I love the lawyer that came up with that. I just feel like that is not. I just can't imagine anybody would buy that.
Right. It's not just a platform for you to receive entertainment. It's a platform for you to engage with. And a lawyer on the other side could come up with arguments similar to a casino that engages someone with different types of bells, whistles, treats, environments, and more. These social platforms are doing the same thing.
Correct. So in their opening statement, Meta argue that KGM, so that's the person who filed the lawsuit, that their mental health issues had been caused by familial abuse and turmoil, not social media. The company also presented medical records to show that social media addiction was not the focus of her therapy sessions. Interesting to note, YouTube in all of this, it says that it is not a social media company and that its features were not designed to be addictive. So there's a lot of interesting, in that just sentence in and of itself. Do you believe YouTube is a social media platform? I have thoughts on this.
I think it should be measured as if it's a social media platform in terms of usage and in all the different types of data that we get back from these third-party measurement agencies that show like usage on TikTok and Snap and Meta. I always want YouTube to be included in there. But I think it's fundamentally different than those other platforms because there's not nearly as much of this two-way relationship that's happening.
Don't you think, though, I would make the argument that ever since YouTube Shorts, there's not that much difference.
I would say there's less.
Yeah.
But still a little bit of a gap. I mean, they're playing the same sport for sure. It's just different leagues.
One of my favorite parts of the trial I read that the attorney for the plaintiff said that I was talking about Meta's slogan, move fast and break things, and how it contrasted with how this company frames its research. And Adam Mosseri said that their new slogan is, wait for it, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
So Lauren, that quote's a widely recognized mantra that's attributed to U.S. Navy SEALs and Special Operation Forces. Also, Ryan Holiday, in his book about Stoicism, has a whole chapter on slow is smooth is fast.
This shows what I know.
And so I'm guessing that book was widely read by everybody at the Facebook executive table, and now they're adopting this. It is hysterical, though.
It's hysterical.
This kind of like 180 shift.
It's hysterical. So yeah, we're going to see what happens. It can't be underscored how, listen, there's so many countries that are, starting to ban social media for kids. Australia, obviously, sort of like leading the way. Doesn't seem like this is stopping anytime soon. I read an article from Jonathan Haidt, famously the writer of The Anxious Generation. He was saying how he went to Davos, just recently, which is the fancy, Switzerland conference with all like the thinkers of the billionaires go. And he was prepared to sort of, put on this big sort of dog and pony show about why social media should be banned. And meanwhile, like all these countries are doing it. And he's like, this is going so fast in the best possible way. He said he met with leaders from Indonesia, France, and the United Kingdom and the European Union, and they all are kind of moving towards these bans for kids. Some have already acted, including Indonesia and France, and others are likely to do so. I think that in this country, a national ban on social media for kids is like much harder to do because our legislature, historically just doesn't legislate, but they're doing it on the state level. And also, there's this new thing that's happening that Meta, TikTok, Snap agree to be rated for teen safety. So randomly, the fashion designer Kenneth Cole has started something called the Mental Health Coalition, which is basically, really pushing this sort of ratings for social media companies, which is going to determine how safe these platforms are for users under the age of 18. And the criteria will include how to gauge how easy it is for teens to take breaks from their feeds and determine how often the users encounter inappropriate posts. So the highest rated platforms will be able to display a shield safe emblem that certifies safety in their feeds, and the worst offenders will be called out for their inability to root out harmful content. So some folks are saying that this might be like an alternative to doing a ban. We'll see if people really adopt these things or it becomes any sort of standard. I still think,
It's no coincidence that at this moment in time, these social media companies who have long opposed this are now allowing perhaps a third party to come in and let the public know how well they think they're doing at protecting kids and youth and teens.
Yep. I think it's also more that like, it's really shocking how they're basically like, we can't do anything about this. There's nothing we can do. And then suddenly when they're faced with like a ban in a country like in Australia, they're able to figure it out. They're able to root out who all the kids are. Like apparently in Australia, there's, the worry was that like all these adults are going to accidentally be taken down. And it's been very minimal. Like it's not difficult to do this. It's like you verify it. And especially when it's on, because right now, it's not in this country. It's not on the social media platforms, even though they have the policy that says you can't go on before the age of, 12 or 13. It's actually not their responsibility to enforce that, which is insane, right? And so, like, when it all of a sudden is their responsibility, like in places like Australia, lo and behold, these smart people figure it out. That's all we got today. The one thing I did want to bring up was that MrBeast bought Step, which is a financial service company, which is super interesting. Beast Financial, he trademarked that like last year. And so now I feel like this is the big step forward in that. So that's my big upload. Josh got kicked out of the room he was recording in New York City. So who knows what happened to him. In the meantime, we will be back next week.
Today's show was produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor. It's edited by Adam Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Make sure you subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, as well, Spotify or wherever you're listening. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up at info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everyone. Thanks for listening to Creator Upload, and we will be back next week.